Hi, and welcome everyone. So at this Mindfulness UK Friday session, we're going to explore being with strong emotions and how we can use practices uh, to help us in these situations. It's part of the human experience. Sometimes we're very happy, sometimes we're quite sad. Sometimes nice things happen, sometimes unpleasant things happen. Um, and in really using the practices to look for some equanimity and inner peace and a way to respond appropriately to these situations, there's some practices that can be really helpful. So we'll have a look at those today. But if it's okay, in the kind of normal way, we'll start with a landing practice, just so we can settle in after what's probably been a busy week for many of us. So just to settle in for the beginning, and then we'll go on into the main practice. So I invite you just to find a nice comfortable posture. If it's been a busy week or a busy morning, you might even want to have a few stretches or just a few deep breaths, and then really consciously and slowly exhale and let go of any tension or busyness that's built up in the body. Maybe just 3 deep breaths. And then allowing your breath just to settle into its natural rhythm without any kind of control or trying to breathe in a particular way. Just allowing the body to breathe as it feels like doing right now. And if you haven't already done so, gently closing your eyes or lowering your gaze, whichever's comfortable to you. And maybe crossing your hands in your lap or placing your hands on top of your legs. And we'll just settle into focusing and bringing our awareness onto the breath as it enters and leaves the body through the tip of the nose. Just seeing if we can settle in and just follow that natural rhythm as the breath arises and as the breath passes. And just gently placing our awareness wherever it feels most comfortable as we follow this pattern of the breath. It may be at the tip of the nose, or maybe in the throat, or maybe just the soft rise and fall of the chest and the tummy as our lungs fill with each inhale and exhale. Wherever's most comfortable, just settling there and being aware of the breath arising and the breath passing. And the invitation, as always, is just to be consciously aware of what's happening in this present moment, in the here and now. Just noticing each breath as we sit, as life unfolds, and we watch life unfolding. We're not looking to think about the future or reminisce about the past. And also, we're not wishing that the present was any different from what it is. However calm or peaceful or busy or stressed that is today, just allowing that to be as it is, noticing it and accepting it with a kind and non-judgmental attitude of curiosity, just seeing what's actually happening right now, breath by breath. And as we settle, we may notice that in between the breaths arising and the breaths passing, there's a little momentary pause, that stillness after the exhale, before the body makes the next in-breath. So just noticing that as part of the arising of the breath and the passing of the breath, then that little moment of stillness, and then the next arising. Just letting the breath become our anchor to the present moment, to what's actually happening right here, right now. And noticing that it's always here, a place of calm and refuge, away from the chatter of a busy mind. And if at any point we notice that we've moved away into thoughts or feelings, just giving a little inner smile as we notice that, because that's also arisen. And that's the nature of the mind, is to produce thoughts and feelings. But seeing if, as we notice it, we can just gently name a thought or the emotion, then gently place our attention back on the breath and choose just to have our awareness and our focus on the breath instead of following the thoughts off into other thoughts. And this waking up out of thoughts and emotions, this returning to the present moment, the here and now, this really is the practice, to just keep coming back to what's actually happening and allowing it to be. And we do this as many times as is necessary, without judgment, with kindness to ourselves. No doubt we've all had a busy week, so we may have to do this many times. Each time it's with an inner smile, an acknowledgement of the mind doing its thing, and also that inner choice to choose to refocus back on the breath as each breath arises and each breath passes. And if we find that lots of thoughts of a particular kind keep arising, then rather than get irritated or frustrated or judgmental about it, the invitation is simply to notice that and maybe name that bucket of thoughts generically. Maybe it's, oh, the planning mind, the planning mind. Or maybe it's thoughts about work or thoughts about the weekend. And by naming generically the pattern of thoughts, it can sometimes help us to notice them and to acknowledge them and name them, but also to allow them to move on by choosing to bring our attention back to the breath, stepping out of the details of any thought and just naming them generically as thoughts about work, thoughts about work, thoughts about work. And we bring our attention back to the breath, the in-breath arising and the in-breath passing. And that little pause of stillness and expectation before the next in-breath. Noticing the in-breath at the tip of the nose, noticing the gentle rise and fall of our chest or tummy. Noticing the softness of the pause before the next in-breath, of that stillness. And as we come towards the end of this landing practice, just noticing if those words prompt thoughts to enter our mind and our awareness. And if they do, just spotting that, giving a smile, because that's what the mind does. It produces thoughts in response to stimulus. And just seeing clearly that's how the mind works, and that's okay. And choosing just to place our attention gently back on the breath for maybe a few more minutes. And then in your own time, gently opening your eyes. And maybe if you want to have a stretch or a sip of water or a drink, please feel free to do so. And while we do, just like to read this from Jack Cornfield, the American mindfulness teacher. When we come into the present, we begin to feel the life around us again, but we also encounter whatever we have been avoiding. We must have the courage to face whatever is present, our pain, our desires, our grief, our loss, our secret hopes, our joy and our love, everything that moves us most deeply. So if having emotions, and at times strong emotions, is part of this human experience, let's maybe just explore in this next practice how we can be with those in a way that's maybe helpful, how we can be with them in a way that allows us to respond in an appropriate way rather than react blindly. So I invite you to settle back into a relaxed posture where you feel comfortable but alert, and you can close your eyes or lower your gaze, whichever's comfortable for you. And let's just settle back for a moment into that rhythm and awareness of the breath arising and passing. Just following the in-breath and the out-breath, and that momentary pause of stillness, maybe just starting at the tip of the nose. Noticing each breath arising and each breath passing. Noticing the quality of each breath. Is it deep or labored? Is it shallow or easy? Subtle or maybe a bit rasping? What's each individual breath like? Noticing any qualities of the stillness between the breaths. Is there a sense of light or of darkness? Sense of ease or a sense of anticipation? And now widening our awareness to follow the breath as it comes in the tip of our nose, all the way through its cycle into our lungs and back out, so that we're aware as the breath enters the tip of the nose, and also aware of that soft rise and fall of the chest and the tummy. Just being aware of the entire sensation of the whole body breathing. Chest rising and chest falling. And the tummy subtly expanding and then subtly withdrawing. And as we widen our awareness to the whole of the cycle of the breath, we'll now take it a step wider to really sense the whole sensation of all the body. We're already noticing how the breath is filling the body and causing subtle movements with each inhale and each exhale. And now maybe keeping that in our awareness, but also sensing if we can sense anything else in the body, any other sensations arising at the same time as the subtle movements of the breath. Perhaps the sensation of our feet resting on the floor under us, supported by the floor or the ground that we're standing or sitting or lying upon. And noticing that that sensation is there alongside the sensation of the body moving in response to each in-breath and out-breath, and alongside each in-breath and out-breath. And maybe an awareness of where we're sitting on a chair or kneeling on a cushion or lying on a couch. Those sensations at the points of contact with the chair or the cushion or the couch under us. And noticing if there are any other sensations, maybe an itch somewhere or a fidgety knee, a slight sensation or maybe pain in the lower back or a tension in the shoulders and neck, or maybe none of those, just the absence of any other sensations. Just noticing all the things happening in the body, breath by breath. And noticing any feelings or absence of feelings that may also be arising with the body sensations and with the breath. Maybe a sense of relaxation at the hands, which are normally so busy, can just gently rest in our lap or on top of our legs. Or that the eyes are just enjoying a bit of a break from looking and maybe the dry or whatever atmosphere we're in, as they're gently closed or lowered. Just seeing if any feelings are coming from anywhere across the whole of the body, alongside any sensations and alongside the breath. And as we sense the whole body breathing, as we notice each breath and each sensation and any feelings, just noticing if we're holding any tension anywhere. And if so, just with the in-breath and the out-breath, seeing if we can soften and relax and allow that part of our body just to be as it is. Consciously being in the here and now, noticing all these things arising. And now extending a little bit wider to notice any sounds that may be arising. Maybe the hum of the home or the office around us. Maybe some wind or some weather, patter of rain, or a passing vehicle or somebody calling. Just noticing that alongside the breath and the sensations of the body and the feelings of the body, there are also these sounds arising, entering our awareness, and then either passing or continuing to arise. All these things happening simultaneously. We can just sit or lie or stand and be aware of them. And now that we've settled into this place of awareness, we're going to explore if we can keep some of our attention and our awareness on all of these things happening. The breath, the body sensations, the body feelings, and any sounds, whilst also noticing what happens if we envisage a scenario where a strong emotion has arisen in the past few days or week. I'm going to invite you to choose something that's not too triggering, maybe 5 or 6 out of 10, but where somebody said something or something happened which caused a strong but manageable emotion. From this settled place of awareness, I'm going to invite you just to bring to mind that situation and ask what happened and what feelings arose and what thoughts arose. As you start to think about this situation, just noticing what were the thoughts like, maybe how the thoughts began to get faster and faster because the event was quite triggering. But also, having just sat in a place of awareness of the breath and the body sensations and the body feelings and the sound, seeing if you can also notice that whilst these feelings might be arising again, they're only part of your experience in this moment. And by widening your awareness, you can notice that there is also the breath. There is also all these body sensations, maybe some body feelings, maybe some sounds. I'm going to invite you just for a few moments to see if you can pivot gently back and forth between that sense of awareness of all the things arising, including any thoughts and emotions as a result of this medium strength triggering that occurred, and then lean back into the triggering event. Feel more strongly whatever those emotions were. And then pivot back out to noticing all the other things that are simultaneously arising. Perhaps you might like to take sort of 10 to 15 seconds leaning into the emotional event and really sensing the emotions and thoughts that arose. And then pivoting out for 10 to 15 seconds to notice all the other things arising at the same time as these thoughts. And then back again in and back again out. And as you're gently pivoting in and then out, I invite you to notice if there's been any change in either of the breath or the body sensations or the body feelings as a result of bringing to mind these emotions that arose. Has the breath quickened at all or changed in any way, become maybe a little bit faster or more shallow? As the body sensations changed, perhaps a tightening or a sense of tension has arisen. Perhaps there's a temperature change, a sense of heat building up. Perhaps a sense of contracting. And if any of these are the case, just seeing if, as you pivot out, to notice and to be aware of everything from the thoughts to the breaths to the body sensations to the feelings. As you have that wider sense of awareness, you can just notice and notice those sensations and allow them and soften to them and invite the body to soften. And then as you pivot back into the emotions, seeing if they come back. If they do, then on the wider awareness, seeing if you can invite the body just to soften and to allow whatever's arising. And noticing that as a result of this practice, even when you lean in and feel again all of those strong emotions and get caught up in whatever the particular event was, you can do so in a way where you're also able to zoom out, pivot out to notice all the other things going on and see that those emotions and strong feelings are not the only thing that was arising at that time or that are arising right now. Lots of other things arising. We have a full awareness. The breath, sensations in the body, feelings in the body, sounds coming and going. And the invitation with this practice is to gain an experience and a noticing, a feeling that whenever strong emotions and feelings are arising, we have this ability to notice, well, what else is happening? And by putting our awareness on anything else that's happening, whether it's heat in the body or tension in the body, or the breath arising or the breath passing, or a noise or something somebody else said, you can become aware that there isn't just the strong emotion. There isn't just the endless chain of thoughts that are coming out of the triggering event. You can gain a perspective that there's more. And this can provide an ability to gain perspective and give us, if you like, a handhold so we can then use that to notice that because there's more, our awareness can also settle on the breath. Doesn't need to get so emotionally tied up in the strong feelings or emotions. And this can provide a sense of space, a sense of perspective, and noticing that there's more than just that event. And noticing that we have that choice to zoom out, to re-anchor, to rebalance, to reground. And from this space and this place, it's often easier to then respond in a way that is wiser and kinder. And so we'll finish now just by zooming out and letting go of whatever the event was. And now just zooming out to notice everything that's arising and passing. Each breath, each body sensation, any residual feelings still arising, any new sounds, and maybe some thoughts, and just noticing them arise, but not necessarily following them, just giving that inner smile, and just noticing all these things happening at once. As we use these anchors to sit in the here and now. And use the here and now to gain a sense of spaciousness and calm and peace and equanimity. And in your own time, feel free to open your eyes and come back together. And I'll just stop the recording now.